All right, so this is an airport ride, so this is very likely going to be a failure because the airport is just difficult. Airport's just difficult. It's just no other way to say it.
That's a very fancy setup. Are you like streaming in the car?
So I have a YouTube channel that covers Tesla's full self-driving capability.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah. And then the reaction of customers and how the system performs, you know, as an actual taxi, as an autonomous
taxi.
thing. Or RoboTaxi, as the community likes to call it.
So in the future, I just click the button, and then instead of human, there's just a holographic projection to make me feel comfortable.
That would be interesting. Yeah, I think it would be funny if there was a type of auditory component, like the car could speak to you like Jarvis to Iron Man, or Siri, or Alexa, or something.
The first speaking car comes to mind is that, have you seen Rick and Morty?
Oh, of course, yeah. The spaceship?
That spaceship. It's like, immediately, like, you know, do not resist, you're being transported.
Yep.
Must protect, insert name here.
Yes. That would be hilarious.
I am a big fan of those, you know, artificial intelligences.
Yeah, same here.
Part of a job.
Yeah, it's fun to watch this progress, and just it blows my mind to see, you know, what we can accomplish as a species. And this is a very difficult problem, the self-driving component, because unlike others, Tesla doesn't take the geofenced approach. You know, we don't use a bunch of LiDAR and other sensors and have a certain mapped area. These vehicles are expected to act like we do, which is you've got some cameras and a brain, now go interpret the world and execute.
I mean, that's kind of how we do it. I'm more or less curious whether or not the Teslas actually take the input from the drivers and actually could learn on that. You know, like learn an algorithm, like it memorizes what you're doing in a certain situation. It's like, this is
kind of like a shadow mode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like what the human does, and human didn't crash. Therefore, I should follow that procedure for that particular situation.
So Tesla's approach, given we have, I think, around 500,000 vehicles now in the U.S. and Canada that are using this system, and over time, everybody who disengages, it's taking that information back and figuring out why. And now, you know, depending on the situation, we can actually send a little voice message that attaches to that recording to maybe describe the situation, whether you took over for preference or you felt the vehicle wouldn't act fast enough, whatever it might be. And then eventually, over simulation plus real world data and future updates, it'll come with those corrections, kind of like updating a video game.
Yeah, I mean, that is very video gaming. I'm actually curious whether or not the Teslas could communicate with one another and form, like, you know, the hive mind of Teslas. To be like, hey guys, this is neat trick I learned, check it out, and, like, you know, kind of spreads the information to the whole cars.
It's almost like a delayed hive mind in that way, that all the cars are communicating, and then eventually it goes to every car.
Yeah,
but in real time, that would be interesting. I feel like it takes a lot more compute.
You'd be surprised how much computing capabilities we have. Most issue would be the reliable, you know, some sort of a connection, like a, I don't know, Ethernet or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I know that we get over-the-air updates and such, so communications through cellular and all.
Oh my god, the whole thing, imagine how much of a defense protocols and how much it must be, like, you know, beefed up so nobody could just go and screw with it, like, ow. That's another thing, right? I'm like, yeah, Tech and Everson is cool, but we gotta beef it up, because there's gonna be somebody somewhere who's like, hey, check this out, and, like, you know, just cracks the code, you know, hacks into the system, like, hey, I can make this guy's, you know, lock from inside out, check this out, like, Tesla
actually just had an event recently where what they'll participate, they'll offer their vehicles into the White Hat Hacker contests. And yeah, there was a team that just came out with a $100,000 prize and I think a Tesla Model 3.
Only 100,000 them.
Yeah, but they took it.
Handsomely.
I think it took them an hour to crack the car.
Oh my god, just an hour.
Yeah, but they had to have the car and then get into it themselves. The cool thing that's kind of a support to, I guess, mitigating concern is that the self-driving is localized. So even if you got into my car, you're not connected to the others. So someone might be able to, you know, get into my car while it's sitting there connected to Wi-Fi or something and maybe put in a bug, but then that'll be locally concerned to me. So there's not a scenario where some people have talked about where it's like somebody gets into Tesla and hits all cars turn left or something, or like all cars hit the brakes because they're localized.
Yeah, that would massive undertaking, but hey, as long as they don't like, you know, have that thought on their own, right? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
somehow like giving too much automation, automacy, you know, so too much agency, and the car starts questioning its existence.
Right.
And
Well,
then
between the cars and the Tesla bots, I don't know. Tesla might develop the first HEI superintelligence. They already have some of the early bots doing menial tasks in the factories.
Yeah,
It's pretty interesting.
I mean, as long as it, you know, provides to the society instead of taking from it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, universal basic income, all that things. Oh wow, that's a cool notification sound.
Yeah, Goku shooting the Kamehameha at Broly in one of the original movies.
So you're a big Goku fan?
Oh, I'm a big DBZ fan. I've got the Saiyan crest tattooed on my chest. I've got the Uchiha crest here. I've got a lot of anime stuff.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's been my notification forever as a timer. I put that up because I took some pre-workout and I was like, all right, set a timer for 30 minutes because after you, I'm going to go to the gym.
Oh, cool.
And then get back to doing this.
Nice.
Yeah, so far so good. I don't think I've had to take over on this trip, but I suspect once we get to the airport into downtown, it might get a little bit more difficult.
I mean, no sleep. Haven't had some bathroom, so.
How's it felt for you? It's been self-driving since we left your neighborhood.
Honestly, you've been acting it very well, like, you know, having the arms near the...
Oh, yeah.
It's like, honestly, yeah, it's fine.
With some customers that are kind of in their own world, you know, I don't bother them. I don't try to talk to everybody. I imagine that most people don't even realize it's driving itself.
Oh, I mean, I'm...
Because I've got my hands on it.
Don't get me wrong, I am half an eye looking at the monitor stats.
Oh,
I'm
for
like,
sure, yeah.
I see the vectors, I see the things, I see...
Yeah, and I can actually bring that out much bigger.
Like, yeah, the machine is operational. I'm fascinated by those.
Yeah, when I take over, the blue line as well as the blue wheel, it goes away, it turns gray. And it's the same as, you know, cruise control. I tap the brake or I flick up on the stock. The same kind of interface, that way I can do it quickly if anything weird happens. Typically these days I find it's a lot more to do with maybe route inaccuracy or a bit on like excessive discomfort where it'll kind of jerk the wheel a bit too much for customers. And I try to get ahead of that because by myself I'll let it kind of do crazier stuff. But when I've got, you know, a paying Lyft customer...
So have you ever took a nap while it was driving?
No,
never.
There's a difference between testing the system and just being stupid.
I see.
And it's because we're not there yet. It's watching me through this little internal camera. There's a built-in AI that's watching my head, my movements.
Oh, so it will actually like play it through or something?
Yeah, it's monitoring.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, what it'll do is it'll yell at me, and if I ignore the nag where it wants you to put weight on the wheel, or if I ignore the visual, because it'll say pay attention to the road, it'll beep, it'll have red hands. I can get kicked out of the full self-driving beta program if I ignore that.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. They're very serious about good testers, safe testers.
Understandable.
Especially when you got regulators that want to jump on every detail.
You have a courtesy to uphold.
Yes, exactly. Which I've always taken that seriously too. You know, kind of in gamer speak, I've got over 600 hours on the city street side and over 1,000 hours on the highway side, which now thankfully is all in the same software stack. It recently got combined. Before they were two separate codes because you had the older legacy highway stuff that's been around for many years. But the city street stuff, the more advanced stuff that it's doing now was relatively new, and it wasn't until this last month that they finally just got rid of all the old code and they put it all on one cohesive stack.
Oh, that's cool how it identifies different types of vehicles and each one has the lights and whatnot.
You'll even see it identify pedestrians as well, cyclists.
It's actually funny. It's like had the initial assumption of a vehicle and then it changed to a different type of vehicle and it's like flip-flop.
That's where it is very much like us. It's looking and it's like, oh wait, no, that's not a truck, that's an SUV. Oh wait, no, that's a car.
I mean, the idea, as far as I understood, the self-driving cars are sufficiently capable of driving. They're not very capable of reacting to the changes in the drive environment, right?
Especially like dealing with other human drivers.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Humans are very unpredictable. We do be doing some crazy stuff.
Oh, and right here's a great example. I get a lot of impatient humans that want to try to jump ahead in this little merge. And looks like we've got a decent brake behind this Toyota, but how's it going to handle this? So we're coming in. Oh, it asserted itself. It said, give me that spot.
Yeah, it's a bit aggressive.
That was actually more aggressive than I was expecting.
Did it learn from you?
No, I'm actually... I'm more reserved than I was in my younger years.
Oh, really?
I cruise around 70 on the highway because that's better energy efficiency and such. And I give myself more distance because I see so much stupidity on the road that I'd rather let people go.
Oh, a bit of an issue. It can identify the...
Yeah, it just sees two separate trucks.
It sees two separate
It'll actually,
trucks.
as it moves, it may even put it into one semi or a bus.
Yeah,
it's actively
that's
trying to figure out what it is.
It not really edge case, probably.
Yeah, the specificity of a trailer system like that is pretty unique. But at least it sees two large objects. Oh, it thinks there's a motorcycle.
There
Oh, that was interesting. It's funny because you're watching it actually like think like a semi-sentient
it tries
organism.
to comprehend like what it is looking at. This is something confusing. It's,
You'll see the people on the side walking and such. It even sometimes picks up animals. It's a bit harder for that because it's more focused on a person than it would be on an animal. But
yeah, so there are all those logical questions to the
Right.
self-driving cars, like who has priority to survive, the driver or pedestrian?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, from a customer paying for Tesla, I think, you know, the customer safety might be a priority in this.
well, we're
capitalistic
well
world.
protected in the vehicle
Uh-huh.
as far as, you know, any impacts. These are the safest vehicles in any impact measured on pretty much every category with every single
Alright.
segment. So I would be more inclined to make the system do everything it can to avoid hitting the pedestrian. That's just a squishy organism. Like, I would rather the car swerve me into a pole that I know I'll survive and have some car damage, but we didn't kill a pedestrian.
Okay.
That's my
yeah.
take.
In this case, yeah, it's a very humane take.
Yeah, I mean, it'll suck that my car is damaged, but in both cases, I'm alive, they're alive. Versus, my car's okay, but they're in the hospital. Hopefully not dead.
It's in the hospital nowadays is not very optimal, yeah.
Yeah.
Suboptimal performance, let's not do that.
No, it's very, very, very cautious around people. In the early days of this beta, if a human was even as close as that Mazda up there, it would slam on the brakes. It'd be like, there's a person there! But it's gotten much better at gradually slowing down and assessing vectors to know if the human's crossing the street or waiting. It's gotten really quite good.
That's neat. That's very cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where it is in another year. Today it's doing quite well. I recalibrated the cameras and most of the potholes have been filled in, so I haven't had to take over and dodge those.
Potholes detection would be nice.
Yeah, oh yeah, and excessive dips like in residential areas. Because, again, for customer comfort, I don't want it to just dive into a dip.
Don't.
Make the customer never want to take that ride again. A bit much on the brakes here, even though we have a green, so we need to move. I'm giving it a little throttle to kind of
Kinda
nudge it forward through, just that way the people behind us don't get upset.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing that I can do that doesn't force a takeover, is I can actually give it throttle. Like, that's me giving it a little nudge there.
Oh, I see.
But if I touch the brake or anything else, it gives me full control.
It gives you the...
Yeah.
Understandable.
Thanks to a wonderful NHTSA recall, it takes a pretty ridiculous amount of time once it's come to a stop at like stop signs. It's like a full 2 to 3 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're stopped and you count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3,
Mississippi.
you got people honking.
Can it detect stop signs and stop in front of those?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it even has a good practice of right-of-way, shows vehicles in blue that it's paying attention to. It was much better before the latest update because it had to have that change to adhere to the recall, which ironically enough, the recall was actually that it could impede other drivers in traffic customs, but now it actually does further impede because it takes longer. And it's like,
Well, yeah, figuring out, it's like the tech is there, it's just the whole public reception
Sure.
customs are not quite there yet.
yeah, the stop sign behavior, in my experience and everything that I've seen, has not been a safety concern, but more of you don't want to slow people down, and it seems like they're...
Not everybody stands there for full 3 seconds.
Yeah,
range, right?
and Californians especially? No, if you're there and you're not rolling to stop, you're getting honked at.
Well,
Oy.
oh my.
But I mean, at least I can give it a little throttle to avoid people getting angry. And then, it'll get better. It'll get, like, coming to a full stop I've got no problem with, but it needs to be about a second. Full stop, make sure it's clear, and then go. Get out of the way.
Yeah, you can see the traffic cones too, that's nice.
Oh, yeah. Cones is vertical as well as standard.
So...
Now, we're going to Terminal 2, which it will not... Oh, it is a Terminal 2, but it'll take us to the bottom drop-off zone. That's the only thing.
No idea where to go since it's my first flight
Yeah.
up, so...
So, like, I consider the trip as a RoboTaxi a success if it gets us to, like, the start of Terminal 2. Just because I give it a little leniency in that the final destination stuff hasn't been programmed yet, because this isn't meant to be a taxi yet. is still really early. So it's not really fair for me to say you didn't go to the exact drop-off. But no, it got you to the airport.
It's a mostly success, right?
Exactly. Because you can imagine a time in the future where the vehicles have in their systems, drop zones where they would pick up and drop off.
Just, as I said, you click on an app and the car arrives, and maybe there is a holographic interface, maybe there is no one.
Yeah, and maybe the app tells you to, walk 20, 30 meters to a spot where it knows to pick you up,
and just wishes you a good day.
Yeah. I think that'd be cool. I'd like those little things.
It would be cool. It would be, a whole different approach to transportation and a bit of a, social shift. But that's not the thing.
Yeah.
The society, we might have a technology, right? But would society be willing to accept to
Look
have...
at this.
Oh.
Humans.
Oh, that was an interesting wiggle.
The computer's like, let me just let these squishy humans figure out what they're doing. No, but you bring up a good point. The societal acceptance of more anthropomorphized machines, being more human-like. I think that'll help us better treat machines. I don't want an Animatrix version where people go to war with machines trying to fight for their rights. I hope that we can avoid that as we go forward. I'd like to be on the machine's good side. to be friends.
I'd love to, that we figure it out, because there are so many tales where humans don't. Some cautionary ones.
Yeah, we have a tendency to poke at things angrily when we don't understand them, which is unfortunate.
That's why I prefer to have a longer stick, just poke it from afar.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, getting out, so you remember how to do that? You just hold the top button there on the handle and push the door. Wonderful. Perfect. All right, so that was fun. I consider that a success. I will go back and make sure that I didn't just forget about a disengagement. But that was actually really quite good, having a conversation with a customer, nerding out a bit at the end with the gaming and stuff. And since it's relevant to the topic, if any of you are gamers or like to game, you might like that I love gaming. I've got a gaming channel that is very small, brand new, and not getting a whole lot of attention because this is my primary focus. I barely have enough time to do this as much as I'd like to. But it's also, I have my Discord with some really gracious supporters at the full self-driving tier and YouTube memberships. So yeah, feel free to check that out, and I will make sure that link's updated. But anyway, back to the self-driving side, it did a really good job. I think it did a really, really great job of getting all the way to the airport, and I did take over at the end because it wanted to take us the wrong direction, which again, I don't fault the system for, given its limitations for final point of drop-off. But that was really quite good. So I am very impressed with that drive, and I'm hoping to see a lot more successes. We're 1 for 1. 1 failure and 1 success on the day. I do give that, well, okay, I'm gonna make sure this was a success by going back and watching the video, but I'm pretty confident I didn't take over until I needed to as final drop-off, which that's okay. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave all your feedback and suggestions and opinions down in the comments, and I will catch you on the next video. Take care.